Hi everyone, today I'm going to be reacting to the worst financial advice online. It'll be a mix of TikTok, Instagram Reels, and YouTube Shorts. You're probably thinking, hey, this guy's reacting to TikTok videos. He probably ran out of content. You'd be correct. All right, jumping right into it. New studio a little bit. We'll see how it goes. I'll try to fix the back and the lights a little bit. And it's my first time doing these type of reaction videos live, so we'll see how it goes and if it does well.
Wow.
Now you take $1 million and see what happens if we double it 9 times. 1 million goes into 2 million, 4 million, 8 million, 16 million, 32, 64, 128, 256, 512, $1 billion. $1 million is 10 doubles away from $1 billion.
But how do you find the doubles?
Well, that's the game. That's the part of the game. That's what.
Okay. So he's talking about starting with $1 million and then doubling it 10 times. He's pretty much saying, like, what is it? A million? No, 1,000x. $1 billion is 1,000 million. So first of all, you have to start with $1 million, which is probably not possible. Probably no one can be able to do it. It's just frustrating. Everyone says, hey, just double it. If you start with $1,000, doubling it to 2,000 is pretty easy. But the more money you make, the harder it is to double. It's so frustrating to hear this type of advice. He's saying $1 million is 10 doubles away from $1 billion. $1 million is also almost $1 billion away from $1 billion. It's funny coming from a guy who doesn't even have $1 billion when he's like, hey, the doubles game, the hard part is, or that's the trick, trying to find the doubles. I don't really understand how to do that. The more money you have, I feel like it'd be hard to double. The only thing you could do is just start a business and then take it public or sell a software company to try to make $1 billion. It is frustrating to hear this kind of dumb advice. He learned how to double. I don't even understand. So let's say if you make 10% a year, it'll take you 7.2 years to double it. And you want to do that 10 times, it'll take you 70 years, but you have to start with $1 million. Most of us, let's say we can save $100,000 over 10 years in order to invest. I don't know how you do it. I hate this stuff. All right, next up.
Within 6 months.
I'd take $100 million that I have and I'd go to a big institution and say, hey, 10x my 100. So that'd be a bill. They'll do that 100%. I'd take the bill, go buy $3 billion, because $1 billion will buy $3 or $4 billion worth of real estate. We could do $4 billion this year.
I don't understand why you're thinking so small.
Let's do it.
What would it take for you to get $3 billion within 6 months?
I'd take $100 million that I have and I'd go to a big institution and say, hey, 10x my 100. So that'd be a bill. They'll do that.
This is sorry, I had to play it again. This is the dumbest thing I've ever heard. He said, give $1 billion to a bank and ask them to double it, they'll do that. What does that mean? Sorry, I'm just gonna play this again.
And I'd go to a big institution and say, hey, 10x my 100. So that'd be a bill. They'll do that 100%.
Sorry, so he said 10x my 100 million, so I get $1 billion, and then use the billion to buy $3 billion. I just don't think it works that way. It doesn't work that way. And it's funny coming from someone who doesn't have the $1 billion. Hold on, let's keep going.
I take the bill, go buy $3 billion, because $1 billion will buy $3 or $4 billion worth of real estate. We could do $4 billion this year.
I don't understand why
You have to be able to find $4 billion worth of real estate for sale. You probably have to buy an entire real estate company. Can you imagine? He said, go take it to a bank and say 10x my money and then use the $1 billion. So he's starting with 100 million to turn it into 3 or 4. He's saying 10x my money. They'll do that 100%. That doesn't even make sense. You can't just go to a bank and ask them to 10x your money. Actually, I think I could 10x my money faster than a bank would because of all the fees they take. This is so funny. So he thinks buying $4 billion worth of, I guess, leveraged real estate is the same as having. If you have $4 billion of assets, but then you have $3.99 billion of debt, you don't really own the assets, do you? I hate this guy. It's kind of the worst advice. I kind of want to see what the comments say. Step 1, have an obscene amount of money. Ah, yes, just 10x my money, please. Everything out of this dude's mouth is BS. That's so funny. I hate this. I hate this guy. He has terrible financial advice. He's pretty much a grifter. He started off just saying to save your money, invest it slowly, and get dividends, but that doesn't get you clicks on the internet. So now he's going this like clickbaity route. Okay, let's see what's next.
Busting Money Myths Part 2. Apparently you need to have 3 to 6 months worth of savings for your emergency fund. Yeah, right. With 10% inflation, do you think that's a good idea? Why not just invest that money into an index fund and let it grow over time? And if anything ever were to happen, just use that for emergencies instead. Busting Money Myths.
Okay, so he's saying don't have an emergency fund. just invest in the market, and then if you have an emergency, use that money instead. I understand what he's saying. You could make more money in the stock market, like investing in index funds, than you can just by having it in an investment. But I don't think he realizes when someone's in an emergency, let's say we have a recession, stocks go down and you lose your job, that's when you'll need your emergency fund, when the stocks drop. So it's you're thinking of worst case scenario. The last few years when the stock market's just been going up like 30%, obviously you can make more money, and that's where this guy's advice is coming from. This is horrible advice. It's when you need an emergency. You need it in like a high interest savings account. That's not investing, that's saving. That's something on the side. Keep 3 months of your expenses on the side, like mortgage, car, and basically food and water, I guess. Yeah, don't invest your emergency, because let's say if a recession happens when most people would probably lose their job. I feel like we're entering that right now. If you're watching this in like Q4 2024, stock market could drop 50%, and then you need that money, and all of a sudden it's gone, and you only have a month or 2 months worth of savings when you could have had a little bit more. Don't listen to this guy's advice.
Don't buy a house.
Not
rent
this
a house. Isn't that wasting
shithead.
money? No.
So imagine if you didn't buy a house and all you did was just rent.
Okay, I do
All
that.
that money that you pay every single month.
Yeah.
One, you're making someone else's rich.
Don't care.
Two, you're paying down someone else's debt.
Don't care.
Three, after 3 to 5 years, guess what? You don't even own the house. You have nothing.
Don't care because I have a massive portfolio.
You should buy a duplex, a triplex, or a fourplex.
I could do that. That's also valid. I just don't want to have to fix other people's faucets. I send a text message. Problem solved.
One unit, rent out the rest, and have the renter pay down.
Yeah, you could do that if you factor in all the vacancies, all the maintenance, all the expenses.
Instead of being the renter,
It's one way
you
to
gotta
be
become
rich.
the landlord and make the renter.
No,
pay
you can
for
get
it.
rich renting too.
Imagine if you own
I do it. So do many people in New York, California, lots of places.
Let's go get this money.
Okay, cool. Bye.
Don't buy.
Okay, I kind of like how he says Monet, but I feel like Remit usually gives good advice, but he's so against real estate, and I don't understand why. He's saying you will have a big portfolio from investing in the stock market instead of buying, but he's not taking into account buying a house is probably for savings, and it's like leveraged investing, but it's assuming any cash that you don't use on your mortgage, you'll invest it, but that is not true. Like, just judging from my friends, my peers, colleagues, everyone just has a more lavish lifestyle. They spend more on a car, they spend more on vacations, they spend more going out instead of saving. So everyone says, hey, you can make more money by saving the cash from a mortgage and you use it to rent instead, invest the rest in the stock market. At the end of 30 years, you probably won't have an asset. And then it's assuming you invest the remaining amount of it. And he's saying I don't have to change anyone's faucet. I just send a text message. Hey, I have rental properties. I send a text message too. And if you maintain a property, or if you have like a new unit, you don't have to do that much work. Like there was a point where 3 years went by where I didn't have to do any changes or fixes because the tenants took care of it. They just pretty much take care of the units. You find good tenants and they'll take care of your property. They have like pride of, not ownership, but like just pride of where they live, and they just kind of take care of everything. It is pretty deceiving to say like, hey, I don't have to change anyone's faucet. Yeah, me neither. I don't change anything. You just send a text message. And it doesn't happen that often either. He usually has good advice, except he's wrong about real estate.
How old are you?
I'm 65.
What would you tell your 20-year-old self today?
Oh man, God, I'd have so much to tell him. I'd be like, dude, don't do drugs, don't drink, don't waste weekends, do not chase women, get around some people that are playing at another level, and get great at one thing.
And what is that one thing you would excel at?
Whatever I'm in, whatever it is you're doing, you're cutting lawns, fucking be the best, bro. Doing toilets, be the best. Waiting tables, learn everything about the restaurant business. Whatever it is you're doing, you got to get Tom Brady great. Or in my case, Grant Cardone.
I just want to stop him there. To be honest, I was expecting to hate this, but I actually kind of agree with this advice. This is the first time he's not saying something stupid. Don't spend, I don't know, in your 20s, you should be grinding, you should be working. I'm probably going to make a video on advice for 20-year-olds a little later, but if you graduate university, like everyone wants work-life balance, but in your 20s, I think is when you should grind the most, try to save the most, just try to invest in the stock market or just pay off your debt. In your 20s, don't sit back and smell the roses and go out on weekends all the time. I think you should grind more. If you work hard in your 20s, your 30s and 40s will be a lot easier. I kind of like this advice. How come we don't get more of this type of Grant Cardone instead of the stupid fake like clickbaity stuff. Let's hear it like one more time.
How old are you?
I'm 65.
What would you tell your 20-year-old self today?
Oh man, God, I have so much to tell him. I'd be like, dude, don't do drugs, don't drink, don't waste weekends, do not chase women, get around some people that are playing at another level, and get great at one thing.
Yeah, I kind of like that. Like, if you're, what is it? You're surround yourself. You'll be the average of the top 5 people, or the most, like, you know, the 5 people you surround yourself with. I do kind of like this advice. Don't do drugs, which is good. Don't drink. It's too expensive and it's not good for your health. Yeah, I kind of like this advice of grinding. I think I'm going to end it here. I cut out a few of these. It's a little awkward. I'm trying to manage the sound on my computer and then just looking at the camera. I'm not really reacting when I'm watching. Hopefully the sound comes out good. Whoop, I just messed it up. You know what? If you guys like this video, these types of videos, just reactions, this is more entertaining. I'm not really teaching you anything. Let me know. I could do more of it. If you find examples of bad advice videos, send it over and I'll react to them. Thanks for watching and tune into the next one.